Hi everyone, Nadine Briggs here. I wanted to talk to you about how to master small talk and try to make conversations a bit more effortless. There are so many people that really dislike small talk. A lot of people on the spectrum especially really hate small talk. They don't see the point in talking about something that's not important. But small talk is one of these kind of, if you don't like small talk, a necessary evil. And the reason for it is that even if you choose yourself not to participate in small talk, there are going to be people who want to participate in small talk with you. And so if you don't participate in small talk when somebody tries to, at the very least, you might seem like you're disinterested in them, or you might even seem like you're being downright rude. And sometimes people engage in small talk at times when you really don't want to engage in small talk. Recently, I was getting some gas pumped at a gas station, and it was like honestly below zero the weather. It was super cold out. I felt bad for the guy pumping the gas. Well, I have my window down, and he wants to have small talk with me. He's asking me about my weekend, what my plans are, all this kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, like in a situation like that, I am not going to share what my plans are with a complete stranger who's pumping my gas. Like, oh yeah, not too much. How about you? Looking at him as a guy who's got to stand out in the freezing cold and pump gas, whether, I want to shut my window or not. He doesn't have that option. And maybe he's just kind of bored and lonely at his job. So looking at it in that framework of, this poor guy's got to stand out here in the cold all day. Let's engage him in a little bit of chit chat is kind of how I looked at it, even though obviously I wasn't going to share my actual plans with him. So that's one instance where obviously you'd engage in small talk with somebody, even though you really don't care to, or there's no benefit to either one of us long-term engaging in this small talk. But for the most part, small talk is necessary because you do want to break the ice with somebody. You want to be able to start the conversation out with something small so that you can eventually get into conversation topics that are more meaningful and bigger to you. So it's kind of a warm up to the big game. You think of it that way. So one tip for engaging in small talk is to ask questions that are more open-ended rather than yes or no. Like, do you have plans this weekend? Yes. You could just stop there. You can say, oh, what are your plans for this weekend? Or, hey, what's been going on with you? Or how'd you get enrolled in this course? Or what made you decide to join this gym? Or wherever you are and you're kind of chatting with somebody, try to open up the conversation so that it's more open-ended so you can learn a little bit more about that person and see if you want to even attempt to make the conversation deeper at some point with them. So one of the more popular things that people will talk about in small talk is they might talk about the weather. Like it's winter here right now and it'd be super snowy. So people might just say, hey, do you think we're going to have a snow day? If you're a kid, maybe you're gonna have a snow day on Thursday if there's gonna be a snowstorm. Or you could say something like, oh man, I wonder when we're gonna get a thaw. I'm getting so tired of all this freezing cold weather. You could say something like that, and hopefully the other person you're talking to is going to engage in you in that small talk. Go, oh yeah, well I just wish I could just like hang out on a beach somewhere and thaw out for a little while. Or they might say something like that. And then if they do say something like that, that's your opening to move off of small talk and say something bigger and say, oh, do you travel often? Have you been to any really cool, warm places? And then you can share where you've been. Like if that were me in an instance like that, I would like, oh yeah, I would totally love to go someplace warm. We keep thinking about where our next vacation might be. Where's some fun places that you've gone that have been warm? And I might even add in, oh, I've been to Aruba and I really loved Aruba, but maybe I'd like to try someplace new. And you can see right there's a transition where we started to talk about the weather, but now we're talking about favorite vacations and maybe where we'd like to travel and maybe dream about our next destination for our next vacation. So you can see how small talk takes you from that little bit of a warm up into something more meaningful so you can have a more engaged conversation with somebody. So it is a little bit tricky, but give it a try and see how it goes and make sure you do engage in small talk. Even if you don't love it or like it, it is a way to be friendly with someone and maybe you're brightening their day, even if it's really not brightening yours. It's just a few minutes out of your day and totally worth it.